All right, good afternoon and welcome to the February 15th, 2022 Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust meeting. Thank you for joining us. Item 1 on the agenda is the call to order, so I'll now call the meeting to order. And item 2 is minutes from the January 18th trust meeting. Is there a motion on the minutes? We have a motion.
Secondary is misspelled.
What?
ER. Oh, that's secondary. Never mind.
Second.
That's okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Jim will second.
There we go.
All right,
Nope, no, I'm married. Somebody.
there we go. All right, please cast your votes.
Trustee Roth, how do you vote?
All right, the item passes. Which brings us to item 3 on the agenda, the ratification of claims. We have a motion on claims. If the motion is second, please cast your votes. Of course. That item passes as well, which brings us to item 4, items for individual consideration. We'll start with 4A, Alliance for Economic Development of Oklahoma City's fiscal year 2021-22, second quarter report. Kathy?
Thank you. There's a report in your packet that has all the detail in it, but I just thought I would hit a few high notes. We have been working with the city over the past several months to finalize an agreement to manage the American Recovery Plan Act funds related to small business and nonprofit assistance that will include things like job training, minority entrepreneurship programs, technical assistance, business support. That agreement was approved today by the City Council. We still have a little bit of work to do on the affordable housing piece, but that will hopefully be coming next. Homeland Grocery Store is pretty well wrapped up. We just have wrapped up some administrative things with the city related to the parking lot improvements. And the Wellness Center is on schedule. I don't know if you've driven by there, but it's a pretty impressive facility. On the job creation front, we continue to do quite a bit of work with Tinker Air Force Base. We've acquired about 140 acres through the Oklahoma Industries Authority to help with the base expansion. We have requested that a portion of Douglas Avenue Boulevard be closed. That was approved by the City Council in January, and now is in the County Commissioner's hands for their consideration. We are working through the process on the large industrial site that the OCEDT provided the funding for at I-240 in Eastern. We hope to have the master development agreement completed hopefully this week, but last quarter we were in negotiations with the group that was selected to finalize that agreement. The OIA sold the building that it had at Southeast 59th and Sooner. It was called the Unit Parts Warehouse, and we sold that recently and just found out today that it will be part of a major expansion of a company here in Oklahoma City. So really good news about putting that building back to use. We're in the process of implementing the CPACE financing program, which is commercial property assessed clean energy financing through Oklahoma County. The Oklahoma Industries Authority would be the administrator of that program on behalf of the county. And it provides a way to finance improvements to buildings that are related to energy efficiency. And it could be anything from the roof to the exterior skin to heating and air conditioning systems. So a lot of developers are very interested in that kind of financing. And then we are working on several citywide searches with the city for different companies on different kinds of economic development projects. Just a few other things. We're working on the Innovation District with the Convergence Project and have been shepherding through that project, including the approvals for Innovation Hall and the $10 million in MAPS funding that will be matched by $10 million from the developer to complete Innovation Hall. And we continue to build quite a few single-family homes in Northeast Oklahoma City. We have about 46 under construction right now, and 3 more on our agenda for tomorrow. And that's probably the highlights. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kathy? There's a lot going on. Do I need to accept the report?
See,
Okay, receive the report. So I'll take a motion on,
So move. Oh, sorry.
there you go. Cast
Did
your
the
votes, please.
old-fashioned way.
Item passes. All right, item 4B is deferred, so we will move to item
we're going to strike it.
struck.
Vote to strike it,
Do we have to vote to strike it?
since it's on
Because it's
individual.
on the agenda. All right. So we've got a request for item 4B to be stricken. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Just to clarify, this is active motion approved at the top, but this is a motion to strike.
Just, you should have a yay or a nay. Yes,
Motion is to strike.
yes. Do you vote? Yeah, okay.
All right, that passes. We'll move on to item 4C, the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust Fiscal Year 2020-2021 Annual Financial Report. Alex?
Hello. Alex Fedak, Controller, Accounting Services Division. Hopefully everybody got a copy of the financial report for fiscal year ended June 30, 2021. As I go through a few highlights, I'm just going to point out some pages that are of relevance. The first page I'd like to direct you to is page 5. Financial statements were audited by our auditors, Allen Gibbs and Hulick. They issued an unmodified opinion. What that means is that's the best opinion you can get. It's clean. It's prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in the U.S. and presented fairly in all material respects. The next page I'd like to direct you to is page 51. There was one finding in the audit. Page 51 describes that in a little more detail, but essentially that was a receivable that was not recorded. And our management response is included at the bottom. What we intend to do is do additional expense review, and we're also we've incorporated a monthly meeting that occurs with accounting services, trust staff, and legal to go through all of the agreements to ensure that we know exactly which receivables need to be recorded. So we've added additional steps. Turn your attention to page 8. Page 8 is the management discussion and analysis. This is where you can find a lot of detail about what has changed from year to year. But I'd like to talk about net position. Net position increased $13.5 million to negative $67.7 million. And that's compared to last year's net position, which was 81.2 negative. Negative net position is typical for this trust as it's a conduit for the city. It issues a lot of debt. As we use resources for economic development activity, those resources get spent down and the debt still remains on the books, which that debt will be paid off in the future, but that's why you result in a negative net position. So this year we increased our net position. There are more details in the management discussion and analysis on page 9 through 11 if you want to get into a little bit more detail about what occurred during the year. The last page I'd like to direct you to is page 35. I wanted to talk a little bit about debt. The trust had $261 million in total debt compared to the prior year, which was $249 million. There was a note issued for $24.6 million for the First National Center redevelopment project, and then that was offset by some bond repayments. So you can see that in the schedule of changes in long-term debt. Also wanted to note that bond ratings remained the same as of 6/30/2021. AA plus, Standard & Poor's, excellent ratings, so that's good news. I would like to ask that the financials be accepted, and if there are any other questions about the financials.
Any questions for Alex?
Just one question. Thank you for the overview. In addition to the weakness you mentioned on 51, from your professional perspective, is there any other concerns that you otherwise have?
No, I don't see any at all. And that actual entry is recorded in these statements, and that's why we received the unqualified opinion. So.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Alex. I'll take a motion to accept the report. Motion is second. Please cast your votes. And the item passes. Brings us to item 4D, amendment to the Bar K Dog Park Project Economic Development Agreement. Kathy?
Yes, this is an amendment to the agreement to change the project completion date to January 31st, 2023. Before the project was able to get started, ONG needed to move a gas line, so that unanticipated delay caused the change in the commencement of the project and therefore the completion. So it's pretty simple. It's under construction now, though.
Any questions? If not, we can entertain a motion. Oh,
Does that change any of the cost for us, or is there any changes of the cost by delay?
There's no changes in the amount of tax increment financing dollars that will go into the project. It's still at $750,000. So Tim Strange, the developer, is here, and I don't know if they've experienced any increases in costs, but a lot of projects are right now. It's pretty tough.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, go right ahead, Tim.
Thank you all. Tim Strange, developer. There will be no change in the total construction cost. We did about $2 million of value engineering to get it back down to the contract price they originally contracted for. So there'll be no change in that, no change in the TIF amount. So that's it.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion on the item. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And the item passes. That moves us to item 5 on the agenda, General Manager Reports.
There's a general manager report in your packet. I don't think I have anything to add to it. It's through January 31st of 2022.
Any questions, comments? No? I don't need to leave that, do I? All right. Gets us to item 6 on the agenda. Comments from staff? Any comments from trustees? No? Have any citizens signed up to speak? None. Well, I just real quickly want to say, Kathy, we don't know if this is your last meeting or not, do we, for sure?
I'm pretty sure it's my last meeting.
Okay, so I would just like to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for this city. You've been fantastic to work with, and I've really appreciated your leadership, as well as your willingness to sit down with me and talk through some of these projects together, just really to help my understanding, especially when I was first on council. So thank you very much, and believe me, you'll be missed. we appreciate everything you've done. So,
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, understanding that, may I add to your
Please.
comment just for a moment? I don't want to embarrass Kathy, but I do want to just take a moment publicly to say how much I've appreciated you as a person and as a professional. I've had a number of different views to your work from across the street as a county commissioner, and even before I was elected as somebody trying to do good things for others at the county. And you were a point of contact at the city, and you'd had a vision, and it was fun to watch you rise through the ranks because of your work ethic, and you're certainly a smart leader. With my time here, I just want to say how much I've appreciated watching you evolve to allow a trust like this to meet the needs of an evolving city, to be inclusive, to be collaborative. I consider you the go-to for a lot of things, not just because you've seen it and you've been in the room, but you've helped actually move the city with holding on to the compass. And I'm just grateful to you for the service that you've given the great citizens of this city. I wish you the best in everything you do. I'm thankful you're going to stay involved in this type of space because I think you have a special skill set that can bring people together and still do a balance sheet, which is really, I think, two sides of a brain. But just at a human level and at a personal level and a professional level, I just think you're aces, and I'm grateful for you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Said.
I can't add any more than it's already been said because it's so very true, but I admire you tremendously. You have the ability to see things that not a lot of people can, and you figure out how to make it happen. And you bring disparity together in consensus, and that's extremely important. And thankfully, we're not going to lose that in you, and there'll be plenty more times to roast you, if you will. So, but thank you very much for everything.
And I have to add as well, thank you for the time spent in my short trust time, but I definitely have been watching you from so many projects within the city, and thank you for all the work that you've done and what you will continue to do for us. So I wish you the best.
Thank you. And thank you all for all your kind comments and for working with me and the staff all these years on the Economic Development Trust. You know, if you think back to when it was created, 2007, you know, it was a really innovative approach to how to develop a way to provide economic development incentives to projects that created more jobs for Oklahoma City. And of all the things I've probably done, that's one of them that I may be the most proud of, is that we've created a lot of jobs, a lot of investment, a lot of new payroll in Oklahoma City since we passed the bonds in 2007, and then re-upped them again a few years ago. So I can't say enough for you and all the support you've given to me and the Chamber of Commerce and all of us who work together to make these projects happen. And it's going to be a hard thing to leave, some of it, and some of it won't be so hard. So. But
Why
I
did
really
you look at
appreciate
me when
you.
you said
I
that?
didn't.
You
I didn't
looked
look
at
at
me
you. I didn't look at you.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Again,
Thanks.
you will be missed, and you're very much appreciated. All right, with that, we are moving to item 7. We are adjourned.